After the success of Ghostbusters Afterlife, it seems the Spectral franchise is gearing up for an exciting return with a brand new installment, Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. But what can we expect from this upcoming sequel, and who'll be joining the supernatural hunt this time? Join us as we delve into the latest details about Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. 2 years after the Ghostbusters made a big comeback in Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's time for another round of supernatural adventures with our favorite ghost hunters and the Spengler family. They're all geared up for a brand new 5th installment, which they're calling Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 for now. Following the trend of bringing back classic stories, Sony decided to make a direct follow-up to Ghostbusters 2 with Ghostbusters Afterlife. This time, it was directed by Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, the original director. This third film in the Ghostbusters series has been a hit with both long-term fans and newcomers. People have been loving the mix of familiar and fresh characters, and they see it as a touching tribute to the late Harold Ramis. After Egon's grandkids and the Ghostbusters triumphantly vanquished Gozer for the second time, the burning question on everyone's minds in the audience was, what's next for our beloved ghost hunting team? Well, the answer comes in the form of the temporarily titled Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, which will pick up right where Ghostbusters Afterlife left off. And if you're itching to learn more about this highly anticipated movie, including the details about the returning cast, the new director, the release date, and all the juicy tidbits, stay with us because we're going to spill all the beans on Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. But first, let's dive into the fascinating backstory of the Ghostbusters franchise. It's pretty remarkable that the Ghostbusters series didn't start as a massive blockbuster, but rather as a potential cult classic. When the original film hit the theaters back in 1984, it didn't exactly have a roaring success that we often associate with major movies. In fact, during its opening weekend, it only managed to rake in about half of its production budget. Nowadays, such a slow start usually spells disaster for movies because the opening weekend is when most blockbusters make the bulk of their money. However, Ghostbusters defied the odds and became an underdog success story. It eventually went on to gross over $200 million, which was a staggering 7 times more than what it cost to make the film. So why did it capture the hearts of audiences? Well, part of it was thanks to the director Ivan Reitman's imaginative portrayal of a ghost-infested New York City. But it was also the lovable characters that did the trick, including the witty Peter, the enthusiastic Ray, the genius Egon, and the no-nonsense Winston. These characters made Ghostbusters an instant hit, and the rest, as they say, is history. The sequel, Ghostbusters 2, which came out 5 years later, didn't quite hit the same heights as its predecessor. It was a solid movie, but it didn't quite capture the iconic and memorable essence of the original. However, it still managed to rake in a substantial amount of money, solidifying Ghostbusters as a viable and a profitable franchise. This success led to a wide range of spin-offs and adaptations, including animated shows, video games, theme park attractions, and, as many might recall, a complete remake. Now let's talk about that controversial remake. In 2016, director Paul Feig took the helm to give us a new take on the Ghostbusters story. This reboot, titled Ghostbusters Answer the Call, sparked quite a bit of heated debate on the internet. While the film certainly has its dedicated fans, it also became a lightning rod for some toxic discussions online. Unfortunately, despite its passionate supporters, the movie didn't perform as expected at the box office, leading to the abandonment of plans for a sequel. Now, let's get into the scoop of the plot of the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel, Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 will be a direct follow-up to Ghostbusters Afterlife, picking up where the previous film left off. There's a hint that our Ghostbusting heroes might return to the iconic Afterlife 2, which served as the base of operations for the original Ghostbusters team. This clue comes from the working title of the movie and the intriguing end credits scene in the third film. And here's something that might excite fans even more. Director Jason Reitman has dropped a tantalizing hint that we could see the return of some familiar faces from Ghostbusters' past. Specifically, he mentioned the possibility of Vigo, the Carpathian, the main villain from Ghostbusters 2, making a comeback. Reitman teased, there is a lot of time and opportunity for Vigo the Carpathian to make his return. Look, are you saying that's the only painting of Vigo the Carpathian? Maybe he's riding a horse in another one? Maybe he's impaling someone in another one? So, while the plot details remain a mystery, it's clear that Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 is a must-see film. We're concocting some intriguing possibilities for our favorite ghost hunters and their spectral adversaries. It stands to reason that the franchise's future villains will be familiar faces, as evidenced by the return of Gozer and her minions in Ghostbusters Afterlife. The cast of the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel, Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, is shaping up to be a fantastic ensemble. Most of the main characters from Ghostbusters Afterlife will be reprising their roles in this new installment. First up, we have Mckenna Grace, who will return as Phoebe, Egon Spengler's granddaughter. Then there's Finn Wolfhard, who will reprise his role as Trevor, Egon's grandson. Carrie Coon will make a comeback as Callie, Egon's daughter. Paul Rudd will be back as Gruberson, the kids' schoolteacher and a potential partner to Callie. Joining the returning cast is Celeste O'Connor, who will play Lucky, Trevor's friend. However, it's worth noting that the character Podcast, played by Logan Kim, hasn't been officially confirmed to return yet. Nevertheless, there is a good chance that he'll be back to join in the ghost-busting adventures once more. Now, let's talk about the exciting mix of fresh faces that you can expect in the upcoming Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. While it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, it's highly likely that we'll see the return of some iconic characters from the first two films. Think Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Annie Potts. These legends could very well be back, especially considering the overwhelmingly positive response to their previous comebacks. And here's a little wishful thinking, wouldn't it be fantastic to see Rick Moranis grace the big screen once more? But guess what? Ernie Hudson has already received the official green light to reprise his role in the new film, so you can count on seeing him in action. On a slightly less cheery note, Sigourney Weaver won't be making a comeback this time around. She portrayed Dana Barrett, the Ghostbusters' first customer in the first two movies, and made a cameo appearance in Afterlife. But it's not all about the old guard. The sequel is bringing in some fresh talent to keep things exciting. Look out for Kumail Nanjiani, Patton Oswalt, James Acosta, and Emily Ellen Lind as they join the Ghostbusters family. Let's talk about the talented folks who are bringing the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel, Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, to life. Initially, James Reitman, taking the reins from his father Ivan Reitman, directed Ghostbusters Afterlife. However, for this upcoming installment, James Reitman is stepping aside from the director's chair to make way for Gil Kenan. Gil Kenan is known for his expertise in directing movies where kids battle monsters. He's set to take the helm. But don't worry, James Reitman isn't going too far. He's still going to be involved as a co-writer and co-producer, collaborating with Kenan to ensure the movie's success. Additionally, two members of the original Ghostbusters Afterlife team are on board, co-producer Jason Blumenfeld and cinematographer Eric Steelberg. Now get ready for some ghostly adventures just in time for the holiday season, as Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 is currently scheduled to hit theaters exclusively on March 29th, 2024. Excitement is building for Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, and we can't wait to see what ghostly challenges await our favorite team of paranormal investigators. Which character are you mostly looking forward to seeing return, and are there any new additions to the cast that intrigue you? Share your thoughts and Ghostbuster memories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more updates on this highly anticipated sequel.